download our Revise It Right revision app for hundreds of videos, quizzes, exam questions, tutor support and so much more. This video is about electronic configurations. Now in the last video we learnt that electrons now occupy shells, okay, called energy levels. And we need to be able to draw the electronic configurations for the first 20 elements on the periodic table. So there are a few rules that you need to follow in order to do this, and I'm going to write these down first. So rule number 1 is that you need to draw the lowest energy level first. So, i.e. the first energy level. So lowest energy level first. So this is the one that is closest to the nucleus. Then each shell or each energy level can occupy a certain amount of electrons, and you need to remember this. So the first shell can have 2 electrons, the second shell can have 8 electrons, and the third shell can also have 8 electrons, and you need to remember that as well. The third rule is that atoms are happier when they've got full outer shells, and leading on from that, most atoms don't have full outer shells, and therefore they want full outer shells, and that is why they react, and we'll get onto that in a future video. But for our drawing of electronic configurations, these are the 2 rules we need to talk about. So the first energy level is filled first, and then you do 2 in the first one, 8 in the second one, and then 8 in the third one. So let's go through some worked examples to really understand what I'm talking about here. Okay, so we're going to draw the electronic configuration for carbon. So first thing we need to do is we need to find carbon on the periodic table. So carbon on the periodic table will look like this. Okay, now you'll remember from a past video that we can work out the amount of protons and electrons by looking at the proton number. So the proton number is 6, so it therefore must have 6 protons and also 6 electrons. So we need to draw 6 electrons. So in the middle we have the nucleus, and then round that we're going to draw the first shell. Okay, because we're occupying the first rule, lowest energy level first, so the first shell first. Now using our second rule, we know that only 2 electrons can fit in that first shell. So we're going to draw 1 as a cross and 2. Okay, now because that is now full, we go on to the next shell. Okay, so we go on to the next one. Now carbon has 6 electrons, we've already drawn 2 of them, so we've got 4 left to draw. The second shell can have 8, so it will be able to fit those 4 easily, so we can draw it as 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is now the electronic configuration for carbon. We just double check by counting them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 electrons, therefore that is going to be correct. Let's try a bigger one. Let's try calcium. Okay, so we find calcium on the periodic table. It looks like this. So to find the amount of electrons, we've got 20. We look at the proton number, so we need to draw 20. The first rule says we need to draw the first energy level first, and that contains 2 electrons. 1, 2. Okay, now we go to the next energy level because that's full. And then we knew there was 20. And now we've done 2, so we've got 18 left to draw. We know in the second row we can only fit 8. So there's 18 left, so all 8 of those are going to be taken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we've used 8 there, we had 18 left, now we've just done 8, so we've got 10 left to draw. We filled the second shell, so now we go on and draw the third shell. Remember to download our Revise It Right revision app, watch over 700 videos, answer 4,000 plus quiz questions, over 1,000 flashcards, 1,000 exam questions, worksheets, forums, and get help from qualified teachers and so much more. The link is in the description. Now, how many can go in the third shell? Well, we can have 8 again. We've got 10, so we're going to fill this shell as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we had 10, we've done 8, we've got 2 left to draw, so therefore they must be in the next shell. So we draw one more shell, we've got 2 left to draw, 1 and 2. And that is our electronic configuration for calcium. Now you may also be asked to write down the electronic configuration as well in terms of numbers. And for this you just say how many is in the first shell, then put a comma, then how many in the second shell, put a comma, and third, and so on if they have that many shells. So for carbon, there's 2 in the first shell, so we put 2, then the comma, then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the electronic configuration for carbon. For calcium, there's 2 in the first, 1, 2. Then we go to the next shell where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we've got another shell full of 8. And then the final shell, 1, 2, we've got 2. So the electronic configuration for calcium is 2, 8, 8, 2. So we've done 2 there. So what I want you to now do is have a go at some of your own. Okay, so we've got the electronic configurations. I'll draw the electronic configuration for boron, oxygen, silicon, chlorine, and sodium. Okay, pause the video and then restart when you're done and we'll go through the answers. So pause the video now. Okay, so let's do boron. So if we've looked at boron on a periodic table, it had 5. So we're going to draw that over here as boron. So 5. So we know the first shell is going to have 2. And then there's going to be 3 left. So 1, 2, 3. So that should have been your drawing for boron. And it should have been 2 to 3, which equals 5. Now oxygen. Oxygen has a proton number of 8. So let's draw oxygen up here. We've got 2 in the first shell because we've got to fill that up first. That leaves 6 left to go. So the second row can have 8. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 for that. 2, 6, and that's oxygen. The third one asks us to do silicon. Now that has a proton number of 14. So let's draw silicon up here. Following the rules, we do the first shell first. That can fit 2. That leaves 12 left. Well, we know the second shell can fit 8. So if there's 12 left, that will be full. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we've done 10 there. That means there's 4 left, sorry. So the last row can fit 8, so it can fit all 4 in. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is 2, 8, 4. Chlorine is next, and that has a proton number of 17. So if you're wanting to do chlorine, 2 in the first shell, that leaves 15 left. Then you've got 8 in the next shell, as we've got 15 left, and that will fill the next shell. Then we've done 10, therefore there's 7 left. Well, we know 8 can fit in the last row, so all 7 can fit in the last row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which gives us 2, 8, 7. And finally, we've got sodium, which is a proton number of 11. So 2 in the first row, as ever. That leaves us with 9 left. Well, then you can fit 8 of those in the next shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've done 10. That leaves us with 1 more. So with 1 more in that last shell. So it's 2, 8, and 1. So hopefully you got all of those answers correct and you understood what we were doing there. If so, then move on to our quiz and move on to our exam questions. If not, then please do get into contact with one of our tutors who will be happy to help.